Quick disclaimer, I got this product for free. I'm not being paid for it, but I did receive it. So I'm going to be putting it together. It's kind of like a review, but more like a lesson in how not to build it. So welcome back to another Lazy Sunday. This is actually kind of a special edition because I've never had anyone send anything really cool for the Lazy Sunday, but this is pretty awesome. It was sent in by, Elektor Magazine. These guys, let's see if I can focus in a bit on that. Maybe that's okay. Elektor magazine based in the Netherlands, I think, although I thought it was German for a while, but then I don't know. It might be. They probably won't appreciate that. Anyway, Elektor Magazine, it's sort of just like a electronic nerd fest essentially, and I kind of like it. So there's lots and lots of cool stuff in here, little projects that people have done. Some investigations. In this one, it's got some electronic interference from LED lamps, which honestly went over my head, but it was interesting to read. And they've got like a reader section too, where people have sent in their own designs and stuff. So I like it. So I've already opened the box because curiosity got the better of me. And in it, we've got some weirdly cool things. Anyway, we've got a note from Tanya over at Elektor Magazine. She says, "Here at Elektor Magazine, we really enjoy watching your videos on YouTube. Since you're also an electronics nut, might be nut, we thought we'd send you a couple of projects developed by our lab. Here are one, an acrylic case for the VFD Shield for Arduino, to the IV-3-VFH Shield for Arduino kit. 3, not electronics, but how Aken also, I don't know what that means, a ration, does it say ration? I think it does, of Akener Printen. Enjoy. All the best, Tanya." Anyway, thank you very much, Tanya. Very cursive writing. I found it hard to read that. But in the box, we've got some of this, which is Akener Lambert Printen, I think that says. Let's see if we can get that off and have a little look. Oh yeah, Lambert Printen, there we go. What is, oh my word, chocolates. Okay, so we're not going to eat those now because we've got work to do. So in this box, got 2 things and a bit of packing material. One of them is like super awesome. Look at this. So this is an IV-3 VFD shield, and it sticks on top of the Arduino, and it's got these vacuum fluorescent displays. That's what VFD stands for. They look a little bit like Nixie tubes, however, they're not. They've got this more digital thing, but they are vacuum displays. It says it drives 4 Russian IV-3A VFD tubes, background lighting with 3mm LEDs. So I assume that's what those little orange bits are at the bottom. And the power supply is a 12-volt DC stabilized. I guess that just means it needs a regulated power supply. And there are some example sketches available. And also in here, we've got sort of an acrylic laser cut case for the thing as well. So I was reading the assembly hints. This kit is designed for someone who has advanced experience with assembling electronics. If you believe the kit is too complicated for your skill level, please do not assemble to try it. Do not try to assemble it. Oh my God, I can't even read. Okay, end of the video. No, I jest. Take your time. This kit should take 2 to 3 hours to complete uninterrupted. Ensure your work area is well lit, daylight preferred, and clean. Well, okay. 2 to 3 hours, and you need to be advanced at this stuff. Okay. Well, we've got, basically, there's some instructions in here. Oh, we've got the diagram as well. That's nice. A fairly comprehensive list of instructions for putting this thing together. We're going to give it a go. So let's get started. So that's what we're going for. Oh, we heck going for that. I'm not sure what's going to come out of this, but we've got, these are the tubes. Oh, that's exciting. I'm immediately going to get these out and ruin them, I imagine. Oh, wow. Okay, that deserves a zoom in, I think. There we go. So that's one of the tubes. Aren't they cool? these long leads on them. Wow, okay. Now I'm frightened. Let's pop that back. So we should have a PCB somewhere here. That looks like this is it. Oh, it's inside some paper. Oh, let's just... Ooh, that is a nice looking board. Nice and thick too. Cool, right, so the instructions say we need to mount the diodes first. So where are the diodes? So we've got two different types of diode here. So we have a 2N4002 and oops, a IN5815, it looks like. 5819. So we need the diodes popped onto this board. So let's find out where they go. So diode 1 is the 1N4002. So where's diode 1 on this board? Just there. Okay, so let's pop that in the correct orientation, hopefully. So they are not all in the same orientation either. So let's just bend them all so we're ready just to pop them in. So we've got some that go two that go here, but in opposite directions. Okay, that is step 1. Just so you know, we've started this at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so we'll be able to tell how long this takes. I shall tell you what time it is when I finish. Right, soldering iron, solder. No board clamp for this one. Do I need one? Oh, do you know what we can actually use? And we'll probably use it a bit later on, is probably that big Duratool thing. Right, let's work a little bit of solder onto the tip. And get these done. My soldering iron's doing something a little bit weird. It seems to be losing temperature very, very quickly. It may be time for a new one, or a new tip at least. Right, there's those soldered in. So let's trim these leads very short, as it says in the instructions, to trim them as short as possible. Ordinarily, I wouldn't attempt to read the instructions and I would just go for it. But I think the order that you put these things together and the length of the leads on the bottom, because they'll be coming into quite close contact with the Arduino, it's important to read them. Next up, we've got the 8-pin socket. Apparently that's the next smallest component to put in. Interesting. Now I'll tell you what the IC is. The IC is an, oh, I don't know what it is. It's an L1718, but it also says 755, so I don't know if you can see that. I'm not quite sure whether that means it's a 555 timer or not. We might be able to look at the diagram and figure it out. So let's pop that in. These are pretty much my favorite components to solder in, the little dip sockets, because they just go in so easily. So we'll just do one and then we'll straighten it up. Next up is the electrolytic capacitors. So these ones here, these are nice looking capacitors. Well, where are they from? I can't see a company logo on there, but they look lovely. I say they look lovely, it's because they've got gold on them. That's pretty much why. They aren't all the same value, so we're gonna have to be careful here. So this is 100 microfarad. We're gonna have to look that up. So the C9 and C10 are the 100 microfarad ones. So C9 is C7, C8, C6, C5, C10 is one of the larger ones. Let's pop that in. And C5 to C8 are the smaller ones, so we can pop those in. I might have a bit of a tea break and have myself some Aken printing in a minute. I assume it's a biscuit. There we go. I've still got enough space for all of the other components around there, so let's flip this over. And we'll do those other ones first, and then we'll pop in the larger ones. Right, are you all sitting nicely? Ish. We're only going to solder one lead of each one, and then we'll come back and adjust them. Hopefully these will behave a bit nicer, because those diodes really sucked up the heat from this Yeah. It was just the diode sucking up the heat, I think. Well, they're not too bad. Okay, they are. They are pretty bad. We'll push those back into place individually. Now we have the ceramic capacitors. So that's this little bag here. Let's pop these in. So this is our 222, and that one is C1. Anyone see C1? I do, just here. Perfect. Then we've got these other two, which are C2 and C3. C2, C3. Oh, I've forgotten to put the other electrolytic capacitor on there. Never mind, we'll do that in a bit. Ah, they're hiding all the way over here. Oops. C2 and C3. And then the 100 nanofarad is going over to C4. So let's flip that board over and get one of those legs soldered in each, and then we'll readjust them. There we are, it's taking shape. Next up, we've got the 10 K resistors, and it looks like they all run along the top here. So that is R6 to R18. So brown, black, orange, gold. That's 10K, isn't it? I totally just measured it with my multimeter. I did not count them. I do not know how to do that still. Right, so R6 to R18. So R6 starts over here. Oh wait, how do they go on? Oh, cheeky. Okay, so cheeky. I don't know what the hell am I talking about. So these ones, they go in sort of the, I can't remember what it's called. Is it like pillar or something? They slot in, so the LED, so the resistor stands proud like that. In fact, actually, the diagram shows them the other way, so I'm going to do that just in case there's a clearance issue. Let's focus on that so you can see it. Yeah, so they sit in like that, which is really cool. So we'll be doing all of those now. Monolithic. It's probably, is it monolithic? Is that the way it's described? I think that's right. It certainly sounds right. This is really what Lazy Sundays are all about. I love this. I'm having the time of my life just putting components into this board. This whole board is through hole. They designed it that way so it should be easier for people to solder, even though they have a very stark warning about it being for experienced people only, which is obviously why Elektor sent it to me. I mean, I am probably the most experienced solderer in the land. My heck. I think mostly when people watch this, they're looking forward to the car crash. It's like one of those, I don't know, there was a, I think, oh, never mind, I don't know. It's car crash TV, essentially, yeah, that's it. That's what people are watching for. It's police chases. This is the equivalent of the electronics police chase. I've missed one. I've missed one there. How did I do that? Whatever. We'll do that one now. For those of you that have noticed, I have put them all in the right way, in the same way. Oh, look at that one. Okay, we're gonna have to quickly fix that little one there. Which one is it? The middle one. There we go. That's a bit better. I've missed one. I've put them all in the right way though, in the same way rather. Just for anybody that triggers, I've changed my ways. God, I don't know if anyone noticed that, but there's a solder bridge there. Okay, good. Let's chop those last two leads off. Now what's next? We are 26 minutes in. 26 minutes? Yeah, 26 minutes in. Okay, next up, we have the 68 killer ohm resistors. So what ones are those? I think they're probably these. Blue, grey, orange, gold. That's 68, isn't it? Again, I've cheated. This time I'm using the, oh, you can't see it. This time I'm using the instructions and it actually says, which is brilliant. So I don't have to use the multimeter. So these ones are going in next. They're also mounted in a pillar fashion, in that monolithic fashion. So those are 19 to 30. So we're going to have to find them all over the board, which is a bit of a pain, but not a pain, actually really fun. Do you know what? I might start designing my boards with this pillar fashion resistor. I like it. It takes up a lot less space if I want to use through hole, that is, rather than sort of SMD stuff. So this display can be a clock, it can be a temperature sensor, it can show you the date, it can be an arbitrary counter if you want it to be. So you can control the segments individually. And I think there are a couple of sketches we're going to try out, but I think I'll make it into a clock. I think it's going to look really, really nice. So I can see if I can get it in the background on streams and stuff. The really funny thing about this is it's a little bit like not spot the difference, but you know that thing where you're searching for an item, that kind of game, and I'm just searching for it on here. What I could do is look at the diagram. So there's still lots and lots of these to put in, I think. And I've just realised I've not put all of the resistors in for the 10K. Well done, David. There is more to go in. Because I read that it said R6 to R18, but I didn't find all of them. Very clever. That's okay though, we can sort this out. All right, then we'll solder these ones in, I think, because we've got quite a few on the board now that haven't been soldered, so it'd be a great idea to get those sorted. I think with this clock it is absolutely about looks, because first off it looks great, and secondly it's a display, isn't it? So it's meant to be looked at, so I'm going to make sure it's going to look reasonable. So are we all standing reasonably proud? Let's focus onto those top ones so you can see them. Yeah, I think they're okay, aren't they? Hopefully I've not screwed anything up there. Okay, I'll get the other side soldered in. Well, if I mess any of these up, I think I can sort the problem, he says. There are several other components on this board I don't think I'd be able to rectify if I screwed it up. But resistors are one of them that I could rectify. Right, we've got a few more of these ones to go in now. But I wanted to get some of them out of the way first. It's like a little city, isn't it? Like all these resistors sort of poking up out of the board. I enjoy that. Do you know, you can't hear this, but something I quite like about doing this is there's a clock in this room and it ticks. And I can hear it, and it's just quite relaxing to have that tick, 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 tick in the background, and just no other sounds. It's lovely. I mean, I can sort of hear people really far away, but my neighbours, for instance, both sides have got kids, and so I can hear them screaming and carrying on, but I don't mind that. Reminds me of when I was a kid. Right, that is hopefully everything. I mean, I never can quite be sure, but let's get those soldered in. I'm not going to straighten these ones up because they're sitting quite nicely already. I've slowly, while we've been doing this, I've slowly been melting plastic bags that are sort of sticking up on the desk. It's very clever of me, isn't it? Oh well. So we are now 40 minutes in. To the 2 to 3 hour build time. God, I kind of hope it's not, because In fact, I might take a little tea break in a minute. 40 minutes is quite a long time to be yammering on. I'm getting a bit parched. Right, next up we've got the 220 K resistors, which are red, red, yellow, gold. That's R43 to R54, so let's do that. 43 to 54. Oh God, this game of searching. I've just had a little look at the schematic and I've got a sneaking suspicion that I may have misplaced a component, or it wasn't included. I'm not sure. Or I'm misreading it, which is entirely possible. I think I might be short a 68K resistor. I'm sure I've got one somewhere, or I can find one. But I don't know if I really am missing one or not. But we'll see at the end if I'm left over with a part missing. This is always what happens, isn't it? When it's like doing a jigsaw puzzle. You start going and then you're like, I can't find the piece. It's missing. I guarantee it's missing. And then actually you end up finding it. So I think it's probably a case that I just haven't seen it yet. Or, you know, I'm looking at the wrong bit and it doesn't need to be a 68K. There's so many markings on here, it's easy to get a bit confused. I think they were right about the amount of time this is going to take. These are taking a long time. Well, it feels like a long time. I don't know whether it's because it's repetitive or not. Let's see, where else have we got to go here? Aha, I found it. Okay, so the reason I was confused earlier, I was looking for R25s marked there, but actually that's for that resistor there. And this resistor here doesn't really have a marking around it, except for over here, R49. So that goes to there. So I thought this was meant to be a 68K just here, but really it is a 220. So we're golden, we're all right. There's nothing wrong. I've got everything. Exactly like a puzzle. So let's pop that one in there, and then we're good to go. This is all like shaping up very nicely. So the order in which these have been put in, or the instructions, have made it really, really simple to sort of rest this board. It balances very nicely. Look, it's good. Do you know, it sort of said for experienced solderers. Well, after you've made this thing, you'll certainly be an experienced solderer. There's an awful lot going on here. Oh, just feeding that onto the iron. There's that experience coming out. My iron's getting... Yeah, it's just a little bit rubbish, the tip on this. I think I need... I've seen so many people talk about this TS100. Literally itchy finger on the buy button, really, with that thing. But I'm going to wait. My birthday's in May, so I might treat myself to one in May. All right, let's just check those out. They are all looking good to me. Let's solder the other sides in. Incidentally, I'd say incidentally or not, and it's not incidental, but someone did buy me something from my Amazon wish list. It's not a hint because there's nothing on there, but there was something on there, and it was meant to really be on my shopping list, but it was on my wish list, and Sion, the unexpected maker, picked it up for me. It is a microphone stand. So when I do live streams, I've got a microphone in front of the desk now. I bought a new microphone, and it is a little bit unwieldy, really, because it's quite a large one, and it sits in front of the keyboard, so it's a little bit in the way. So he picked up this little microphone boom thing. It was like 10 quid, so it was really, really nice of him. But ordinarily it's something I should have bought for myself, but it's incredibly kind, so I appreciate it. Thanks, Sion. He did leave a message to say, I wish it was a toaster oven. He's been trying to get me to get into, it's an ideal topic for this, been trying to get me to get into SMD soldering, which I do, but reflow soldering is what I mean. Ideal topic for one which is all through hole components, this one. I'm sort of getting into it. I've designed plenty of boards with just SMD components, but the one thing I don't do is reflow. I solder all of them by hand, and it might be a good idea to sorry, you're getting the voiceover while I'm actually soldering, so unfortunately sometimes I'm just going to stop talking. But I was messing around with a pin there. Yeah, but most of the time I just solder it, but I have bought some not flux, what's it called? The solder in a syringe. I bought some of that to play around with, so I'm going to see what it's like just to use that with a hand solderer. Jeez. Do you know, I haven't had anything to eat today, so I can't speak. But yeah, I bought some solder paste and I thought, oh, it would be nice to just give it a go with an iron and see how well that goes. But I would like to get one of those hot air guns at some point. So if I go replacing my soldering iron, then I can get one of those soldering hot air reflow workstations. It might be a good idea to pick one of those up where they've got both in one. And that's all of those soldered in. So we've still got some resistors to go, but it is time for a tea break, I'm afraid. I say tea, I went for coffee instead. I thought we could try one of these. It's like a chocolatey biscuit type thing. Oh. No, it's not. It is not a biscuit at all. It's like a cake. Look. You'd like break it apart. Okay. I'll be back later. Right, tea break over. Well, coffee break, actually. And now we've got to get the 100 K resistors in. And there are a lot of them, so it's definitely these ones, which are brown, black, yellow, gold. So let's get some of these in. And those are resistors 31 to 42. I'm not sure what kind of current this thing uses. So if it's not a lot, then I think I may have this on all the time. I've got one of those, I think it's a DCF77. It's the atomic clock time. I've got one of those lying around somewhere. I think actually the signal for that one comes, is it from Germany or is there one Anthorn? It might be there's a transmitter anyway, so it's sort of like an FM transmitter. I think it is FM, but it transmits a time signal, and you can pick it up on this little board. I did a video about it ages ago. I think I'll pull it out again. We'll do another video on it. It's been a long time and I'm a lot better at electronics these days, but we'll pull it out and I'll see if I can put this to it, but we'll do that another day. It's just about building it today and showing that it works. So this can be a clock, it can be a temperature sensor. Not that you wouldn't use this as a temperature sensor, but it can display the temperature because it's just digits. But they have an example for that. But I think a clock is the ideal thing. I will look it up and see how long you're meant to run these VFDs for before they should be turned off. I don't know whether it's the kind of thing you can leave running all the time. There are lots of things where leaving them on is preferable to turning them off. Oh god, this is becoming a bit of a puzzle. But a puzzle I enjoy. I think I've said that a couple of times now, but it has been a while since I started. There we go, I'm happy with that. On to the next piece. So we've got some remaining resistors, which is R1, which is a 510 ohm, which is green, brown, gold. Now where is that? Ah, here we go. So these are our remaining resistors and we want the green, brown, gold. So this one's green, brown, black. Well, that's not the one I want. Green, brown, gold. I don't have one of those. So we're gonna have to get the multimeter and see if it's just a different marcation on the resistor. Let's find out. This one doesn't have a gold marking, but it is 507 ohms. So that will be this one. So this one's green, brown, black, brown. So that is all of the resistors in now, and we need to start on the headers, apparently, is the next thing. So they're in this little bag here that I managed to burn with the soldering iron earlier. So let's pop those on. What we can do is put our Arduino on there. Let's just go grab one. Well, I don't have an Arduino. I've got a Funduino. Sorry, Massimo. So we'll use this one. And we're going to pop these in, and then we'll turn it over and solder a couple of pins. So there's a bit of a cheaty method for doing this. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm resting the Arduino on top. So I'll let you have a look at that. Can I lift this up? I'm resting it on top and lifting it up a bit so that these sort of sit in. So I know they're relatively well aligned. And if I don't put too much pressure on, oh no, I had it perfect, damn it. If I don't put too much pressure on, it will just sit there, which is nice. And I will dab some solder on the edges and you won't be able to see it. Right, that's each one of them has one dab of solder on, so I can just pull that out now, and they fit, which is perfect. So I can just solder these directly in without having to worry about them shifting around at all. So we'll do 2 on each side, and then we'll just pop it back in just to make sure that it's all fine. Perfect. Sort of. I've got a bit of a distance issue here. Let's focus in on that. So you can see I've got some very long leads, so I'm going to have to chop those down a bit because otherwise this isn't going to sit very nicely in here. I mean, it doesn't because we've got this there. Maybe I'll use a different Arduino with a little micro USB one. We'll pull a different one out, but yeah, okay, we'll use a different one. This one's got the big plug on it. I'm not sure I have an Uno with the little plug, but I've definitely got a Leonardo, so maybe that will work. I forgot to say, I've kind of destroyed half of this box of, of little cakes. They're so lovely. And it doesn't taste like there's anything, it doesn't taste like there's anything to them. They taste great. They're a bit like gingerbread. They're sort of spiced cake with chocolate on, sort of darkish chocolate. But the thing with them is, it doesn't sort of taste like they're very bad for you because there's not a lot to them. But I imagine there's quite a lot of sugar in there. There we go. Right, what's next? Oh, next we have to use our power transistors. So these are BC639 and BC640, T26 and T27. So we've got to get the bag from over here. So this one is the BC639, which is T26. Where are you going? T26. If I was a power transistor, where would I go? Ah, just over here. T26. And the other one is T27, which is just below. Perfect. So do these create the voltages required for the VFD display? Next up, there should be another transistor around somewhere. Well, several more. Where have I put those? Ah, oh God, there's loads. Look at them all. Okay, now these are all the same. These are they're BC547Bs, and that is transistors T1 to T13. So it's every single one of these essentially. So I just need to make sure I get them the right way around. You guys can come out a little bit because this is going to take a little while to put these in. They've done a really good job of separating these components out, so you don't really need to guess what they are or read the thing on the front mostly, which is great. And the solder mask, or the silk screen rather, is very useful for figuring out which orientation. So I think it'd be fairly easy for people to put together. He says, then looking at the transistors and realizing they're not all the same. I'm glad I didn't just go for it. Let's see, what have I put in there? 3, 4, 5, 4, 7. Yeah, that one's right. That's 5, 5, 7. So there are different ones here. Well done, David. You did a good job by checking. So this one, let's take that out anyway. So that is T, That's the wrong one, that's T8, and that one beneath is a different one. Done, that's close. It's 547. So be aware when using this kit, you need to make sure that even though you've got all of those transistors from the same bag, there are two different types in there, so be aware. The BC547, the ones we're putting in now, these are the NPN transistors. So the BC557, the second variant, will be the NPN, I imagine. Unless there's something else entirely, but the naming convention would suggest that it's probably the PNP. The labels are slightly different on these transistors. Obviously they're going to have a different number on them, but they look different from a distance as well, which is useful when trying to read these, because it is very small writing. My eyes are fine, but if you don't have great eyesight, then it's good that they're slightly different from a distance. They do provide you with images of these boards so that if you are stuck searching, but I kind of like the searching. If you're stuck searching, then you can find them on the diagram. Right, that looks to be about it. So let's flip this over and solder those in. Or should we do all? No, we won't do them all at once. That would be a bad idea. Let's get these soldered. It's getting quite tight in here, so it's very difficult not to touch any other pins. That's probably why they suggested using a fine point soldering iron rather than this massive thing, which is probably about 2mm. Maybe more, probably is more than that. Oh God, we're almost there. Almost. And then we've got to go through and check the blooming pins. Okay, this is going to take a while. I bridged some pins again because of my laziness. Hour 2 in David Watts' lab. It's hour 2. And I think it said without distraction or something, then it should take you 2 to 3 hours. But I've had a lot of distraction, you guys. But we're doing okay. If you take off the tea break, then we've been doing it for about an hour and a half, I think. So now we're on to the Pnp transistors. So we need to pop these in. And it's getting fairly packed on the other side of this board now. So after that, I think it's either the LEDs that go on the bottom that shine through those holes there. I think they're 3mm LEDs. Or it's the VFD tubes. And I think we're not going to do the illumination from the bottom because I'm not sure what colour those LEDs are. I'll grab a battery and we'll check it. But I think I would kind of like to choose those colours myself. So unless they're really, really cool. I think I'd want blue or maybe orange. I'm not sure. But we'll put these in. I haven't had any major problems, which is a bit surprising because usually quite a lot goes wrong. I suppose I've bridged a couple of things, but I reckon that was one of those self-fulfilling prophecies because it said, careful not to bridge. I think that it spooked me. But it's now getting late. It's like gone five. So Sunday is fast disappearing. So this will probably go out next week. If I can get them done really early on a Sunday, then I can upload them the same day, but not today. Look how packed that's looking. It's great, isn't it? It's just a thing of beauty. And luckily these are the last components, so I don't need to guess where they're going. Guess. I don't mean guess. I mean the thing tells you, doesn't it? It's not a guess at all. I think we'll save doing the clock on it for another day. And what we'll do is we'll put the demo sketch on so that we can see all of the segments light up. I think that's what it does. I mean, obviously I don't know yet. If it works at all. Oh, am I missing one? Uh-oh. 2 holes there, 1 transistor. Uh-oh, there it is. Found it. 557, 557, good. But yeah, I'm aware that we just recently passed 17,000 subscribers. So I want to say big thank you to all of you for that. That's pretty fantastic. I don't much care about the subscriber numbers. I know I did a little subscriber count as well, but what I'm more interested in and what my favorite thing about YouTube is the interaction I get with you guys. Not only are a lot of you more clever than me, more clever, cleverer, who knows, but lots of you, it's like collective knowledge is greater than the knowledge of one person. So you guys have got me out of a lot of scrapes in the past. So I appreciate that. Scrapes, it makes it sound like it's a fight or something. Well, it is a battle, isn't it? Doing electronics when you have no formal training in it. It honestly seems like an uphill battle most of the time. Let's get these last ones soldered in, and then we get on to the really scarily interesting bit, which is the VFD tubes themselves. Well, somehow, I do not know how, I meant to take this VFD tube with its spiraled up wires, and these ones are all like bent into weird shapes, and put them into this lovely round organized thing, and it looks difficult. So my word, okay. But it is sort of keyed, so that helps. We've got a short leg here. Can you see that one? Difficult to see, I know. But it's shorter than the rest of them. And on this board, there's one where it doesn't solder in. So that's the one we're going to be looking at. So we want to make sure that we align these two with those two there. So, it's going to take some time, and I'll zoom out and sort of film it, but I will obviously speed through. While I was having my coffee break, I had a little look at Elektor. I didn't want to sort of say they were German or from the Netherlands without actually knowing that, because I guess you don't really know where these places are from, but I looked it up, and it started in the Netherlands in the 1960s. And it's always been sort of an electronics kind of thing. And I think the first English language one was produced in 1975. And they sort of do projects and tutorials and stuff, and they put all their schematics, even board layouts and stuff on the website. So you can download all their software from there too, which is quite cool. Their website is elektor.com, so that's Elektor. Well, after reading the instructions, for a bit of mounting help, it actually said about cutting them into a spiral. So rather than having this weird spider's legs thing here, you cut them into a spiral so that you put one pin in first, and you can get a pair of tweezers or just wiggle it around and then get the next one in the next one without them all getting in the way. It's genius, and I shall show you now how it's done. So let's just undo one of these. So I sort of cut them in a bit of a spiral. I'm so rubbish at almost everything I attempt on a lazy Sunday. That's usually because I've gone out on the Saturday. Anyway, we'll try and pop this one in, and hopefully it will go quite well. So where's our dummy one? Oh, just there. Move that out. There we go. So the longest one should go there. Oh, I haven't cut a couple. I've missed them. Let's just cut those nice and short. Oh, we'll come back. It's too difficult to do on camera. So this is an example of the spiral technique that I was sort of describing before, but demonstrating really badly. So we start off with, this one's the dud not connected thing, the sort of keying pin. And then we start with the longest wire, It comes down a bit, that's probably a bit too much, and then a bit more, and then a bit more, and then a bit more. So each time you're getting shorter and shorter and shorter, but you never want to go shorter than that one. And that means that when you put this in, let's see if I can demonstrate it without messing it up too badly. So find the keying point, one goes in, the next goes in, the next one, there we are, good. I didn't want to fail at this too quickly. Next one. Oh, it's difficult. It's like trying to thread a needle. There we go, there's the next one. The next one. Next one, next one. Oh, those two are kind of stuck together. We'll figure it out. Next one. There we go. So that is in. So that was pretty easy actually, wasn't it? It didn't take too long to do those. As if you follow the instructions, David. Amazing, isn't it? What you can do with the instructions. So yeah, they're all in now. We're just going to use the thing that I've now discarded. I haven't discarded it, I've put it here. So this is the alignment tool. I say alignment tool, it's not, it's the box, but we can use that to sort of align these. They don't have to be perfect. In fact, I don't really want them to be perfect because then it won't look like I've put it together. This is the DuraTool thing that I was talking about. You will remember it from a post bag probably. Not sure I've used it in any full videos. That is going to work perfectly. Excellent. Except my soldering iron is going to be really high off the table, which is frustrating, but we'll figure it out. It's good because the fumes are really up close to my nose now, so I can breathe them all in, which is brilliant. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these leads a bit shorter now that they're definitely in place. I'm going to chop all those leads off and then I'll have better access to the pins. There we are, that's all of them done. Right, let's pop that out, have a quick look. That looks all right. God, I'm impressed with that. They did an excellent job with that board. It looks beautiful. All right, let's chop some of these leads a bit shorter. They don't need to go much shorter, I don't think, but... Well, classic Watts mistake here. Well, do you remember how I was leaving that till a bit later because it was getting in the way? I forgot to blooming put it in. It goes right there, so we'll do that now. Oh well, it's an easy one to do and it won't get in the way of everything, it's fine. There we go, look, it's perfect, fits fine. I'm just gonna have to hold it because I can't really put it down on top of those things, so we're gonna have to try a bit of a big Clive soldering attempt. It'll be all right, it'll work fine. No, maybe. There we go, done. So in terms of the enclosure, it's an acrylic enclosure. It's got these bits of plastic protecting it, but it comes in a really nice bag. I don't know whether this bag is electrostatic or whatever. Sensitive, not sensitive, protective. We have some instructions. So we've got all our bits. Oh, it goes upside down. Does it? Oh, okay, that's for soldering the tubes. Oh, idiot. So I could have soldered the tubes using this alignment thing. Oh well. We haven't done that now, so never mind. Okay, I'll throw this together. Right, the case is going together fairly well, but the only thing I've had to do is just trim one of these. Let me show you. Just trim one of these bolts because it just wouldn't fit up against this header here. So I just had to trim that down, which is fine. It works all right. If I've got, I'm not entirely sure I've done it right, but following the instructions, that's what I understood. the destructions. Yeah, it just wouldn't fit. I don't know whether that's particularly my board or not, but it doesn't seem to be an awful lot of space for these. So I've just sort of snipped off one side, and that seems to work sort of fairly well now. Certainly holding it in place. Maybe at this point you should realise you don't want to put an Arduino in here that you want to use, because it's not going to happen. You're not going to get this back out again in a hurry. There we are. What a Bobby Dazzler. Look at that. Well, that's fairly impressive. Does it look like the picture? Let's see. Okay, it doesn't have the shield on that picture. There we go. Oh, that looks similar enough to me. Look at that. Oh, I haven't put the LEDs in, by the way, so because I'm not sure what colour I want them to be. I don't know how this is going to look. I know what it looks like from the picture, but I don't know if these sort of heat up or what. So I'll let you guys decide what colour LEDs should I put in to illuminate this. So they need to be 3mm LEDs. I'm happy to go and buy some, or even flashing LEDs, but that might look a bit weird. Colour changing maybe? I don't know. It's up to you guys. You tell me. Let's plug it in, shall we? Let's program it up. So, moment of truth. I've programmed the Leonardo in here with a demo sketch, and I'm going to plug 12 volts in for the first time. So let's hope that I haven't done anything really bad. Right, that's 12 volts. And does it say something, or is it just all on? You can definitely see it, but some of these are too bright. I'm not sure what's going on there. It's the next day. I'm not even kidding. It's the next day. So I spent a lot of last night trying to figure out why this wasn't working. So I took it all apart and I looked at my connections, looked at all the solder joints, anything that looked a bit crap, I redid. I checked where all the components were. I reseated that 7555, which is it's a CMOS 555. And I checked that all of these transistors were the right ones, because I know I had a bit of trouble with that. I checked everything and the code itself. And then I decided to get rid of the Leonardo and stick an Uno in, and it's working. Let's just turn this light off. There you go. So that, it looks really cool. We haven't got the LEDs in there yet to illuminate them from the bottom, because I'd love you guys to choose those, like what color or what type of LED. It's got to be 3mm to fit in the hole, but otherwise we can go for anything really. But yeah, I'm so happy that, I mean, I went on the forums and everything to try and find someone else that had the same problem, but luckily I managed to just science it out, I guess. So all I did was try everything until the one thing that was left was the microcontroller, and so I sorted that out. I probably should have gone for that sooner. It's currently being powered by this the UPS, so it should work for a little while, hopefully. So thank you very much, Elektor, for sending that through. There'll be links in the description, guys, if you want to go and pick one of these up. You get 10% off with the code DavidWatts. I'm really, really glad that I wasn't going to have to go back to Tanya and say, I've broken it. That would have been really embarrassing. Anyway, this one has been long. Don't anticipate them all to be this length, but it's been fun. All right, I'll speak to you guys soon.